formalities?
No, one sec. They are still being added because the number is increasing continuously.
148 now.
No, it will be much more.
Sohail, let's wait for about 2 minutes. I will give you a review.
Yeah. It typically happens when you admit them, Sohail. It takes a little time normally. We'll give it a.
And we are live on YouTube as well.
Yeah. Second. Oh, wonderful. You have also. So, have you also done that? Take a share screen just now, and send it on all your WhatsApp groups so that people will.
Yes, sir. We'll be doing that.
I mean, since all of us are here, maybe you see. I mean, if Gurmeet Singh puts on 1,000 watt smile, then it'll happen.
Smiles cost money, Hari.
Absolutely. हम दे देंगे आपको एक check, water check देंगे आपको 5,000 crore liters check देंगे.
Water check, okay, ठीक
है. Okay, I think you should start now. It's moving slowly. It's 180 now.
Sohail, let's start. Let's start.
182.
Good morning, all. A very warm welcome to everyone. I am Suhail Rahman, and I head the Sustainable Development Committee for CREDAI UK. The primary objective of the committee is to impart knowledge on the various aspects of sustainability through a series of papers and webinars. I would like to specially thank my committee members, Sophia from the East Zone, Pranati from the West Zone, and Akshay from the South Zone for the wonderful efforts in having set up this webinar in such a short notice. Unfortunately, our first meeting is under such difficult circumstances. I hope you and your loved ones are doing safe and sound. The worst pandemic to hit our planet in over a century has brought not just the construction industry, but much of the planet to a grinding halt. We still have to pick up the pieces and move on. After all, it's when the going gets tough that the tough get going. We are the builders of the nation and have a very important role in society. As builders, we are in a unique position of strength. We can dictate how a community developed by us interacts with the environment. We can also set a blueprint for residents to follow, a nature-friendly lifestyle. And by extension, we can fulfill our social and moral responsibilities towards nature by leaving a better planet for the future generations. But sustainable practices in construction industry have always been associated with higher costs. While customers are happy if there are such features, it's not really a priority on their checklist, and therefore a majority aren't really willing to pay for it. For this very reason, a lot of us shy away from sustainable practices. On this World Environment Day, we are delighted to bring you this webinar sponsored by Hindware & Q, which will change the perception of sustainability being expensive. I now request CREDAI Youth Wing convener Abhishek to address the gathering.
Good morning and welcome everyone. I feel very delighted that we have our CREDAI National President, Shri Harshavardhan Patodia sir, our VP, Shri Anand Rajagaonkar sir, such eminent speakers in Hariharan and Gurmeet Singh sir, and such a big audience for a very niche topic such as sustainable development. Our community taking this seriously bodes really well for the future of our planet, and I personally feel it makes business sense to do that, as you'll see from today's experts talk. The CREDAI Youth Wing is doing a session after a gap, and this is the first one from the new team at CYW. I'm glad we are starting with a session which has not been covered before. Given the nature of these online webinars which are now happening more frequently, given the lockdowns, this session is just to introduce you to the various possibilities. We'll follow this up with papers, case studies, calculation templates for things like water balance, sizing your electricity backups, various STP technologies, etc. in due course, which can act as a ready reckoner for you. At CREDAI Youth Wing, our aim is to help our members become more knowledgeable and efficient at their businesses and become better leaders. With this aim in mind, we have planned learning masterclasses on topics ranging from niche topics such as today's to everyday topics like digital marketing, technology to manage quality, cost, critical path at sites, developing robust KPI and KRA frameworks which act as a base for any performance management system, etc. The masterclasses will again act as an introduction to these topics, and these will be followed with checklists, white papers, case studies, which can be of practical use to you. Thank you for joining us again today. I look forward to your support as well as feedback and suggestions on topics that you want us to cover. Now, it is my proud privilege to welcome our CRIDAI National President, Shri Harshavardhan Potodia sir, to inaugurate this session. Sir, may I please request you to take the stage?
Good morning, everybody. What a happy occasion. As we celebrate the World Environment Day today, we are grateful, we all should be grateful for all that the nature does for us every day. Friends, we must acknowledge the role of nature in our lives, and we should not take nature for granted. And you know, all of us can play a very big part in restoring the balance in nature and the biodiversity that calls for our ecosystem home. And I think the world has changed forever, and the speed of change taking place today means that all of us as leaders must act quickly and boldly to keep up. By focusing on climate change and sustainability, I think all of us, including all companies, can build a very big competitive advantage. And probably that's the only way to sustain future business. And we all have to pivot quickly and refocus our critical attention to solve this critical challenge in the years ahead. And we have to join hands together with the government, with the entire ecosystem, the different international authorities, to create a more sustainable world for time to come. Friends, like when I started my inaugural address, this was one of my climate change was one of the key issues which I picked up on that day, that CRIDAI must get involved with this whole thing in a proper way so that we can solve this problem and contribute to solving this problem of climate change. I think just to give a brief background, the construction and infrastructure industry contributes to nearly 40% of global carbon emission, which is pretty high. Concrete, steel, and aluminium alone contributes nearly 23% of global carbon emissions. It's a huge moral and social responsibility of all developers, builders to adopt sustainable practices to leave a better planet for our future generations. All the eminent speakers in today's seminar will give us a glimpse on how we can adopt such practices which are not very expensive at all. Given that we are key stakeholders in this mission to reduce carbon emissions, we have signed an MOU with IGBC where CRIDAI members get exclusive benefits. And at the Paris Climate Summit in 2015, India pledged to reduce its emission intensity by 33 to 35% of 2005 levels by 2030. Large-scale adoption of green building norms by our members will contribute significantly to our nation's Paris pledge. CRIDAI will continue its efforts to represent at various forums to get incentives for developers for green buildings, eventually maybe green financing, carbon credits, and we will try to see what direct benefits developers get when they adopt sustainable and green practices. This will actually only incentivize, motivate to accelerate the mission of sustainability. And I think going further, at CRIDAI, we would like to introduce a CRIDAI Sustainability Award. And I have asked the CYW team to work out all the details and at zonal and national levels. Friends, I think today it's impertinent that we adopt sustainable practices in the built environment as much as possible. It's not something which is a buzzword or something, it's a necessity. I think people have to understand the importance of all this. And we have to also get focused on recycling materials while we are doing construction, and how much of recycled material which we can use. Probably this would also help carbon neutrality. I think what is happening also is increased temperature from climate change makes air pollution worse. And air pollution from greenhouse gases speeds up the climate change. So it's a big destructive loop. So I think all of us have to get together and find some way where we can break this leak and slowly reduce the carbon emission level and focus on sustainable development in time to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Haj sir, for that wonderful words and very exciting announcement of CRIDAI Sustainability Awards. We all look forward to participating wholeheartedly in this. You also mentioned a lot of technical terms like carbon footprint, reducing waste, reduction of wastage, recycling. Our committee will be looking at each of these topics and releasing webinars and papers so that we break down all of these topics in simpler words for all of our fellow members to understand. I now introduce our sponsors, Hindware, who has been graciously sponsoring this event for us. Briloka, makers of the iconic brand Hindware, is a leading building materials company in the country. Briloka has a versatile range of best-in-class bathware products that caters to a wide cross-section of the customers with a strong portfolio of leading innovative brands across the value chain, such as Q, the luxury brand, Alchemy, the super premium brand, Hindware Italian collection, and Hindware, the premium brands, and H. Vitreous and Benelive, the mass segments. I now request Rakesh Nair, National Sales Head Institutions of Hindware, to address the gathering. Over to you, Rakesh Nair.
Thank you, Mr. Suhail. Thank you very much, CRIDAI, for this opportunity to us today. And we are very proud to be part of CRIDAI on this day of World Environment Day. So just to begin with, Briloka, as Suhail has rightly put, Briloka caters to different segment of customers, starting from low base to from a product like H. Vitreous to Q at the top end. So just to take you to the transformation which we are going through currently from the last 1 year, we have been transforming from a big company to we have demerged to three entities like HSIL packaging, then SHIL consumer, and finally Briloka. So Briloka is basically the company which deals with the selling point of all the brands. And this is the pyramid that how it looks like. We have a brand H. Vitreous at the economy segment and Benelevate economy plus mass segment, Hindware at the mass segment, and in the middle we have Hindware Italian collection at the kind of superior segment in Hindware range. And when it comes to super premium, we have Alchemy range of products, and finally at the luxury end we have Q. So when it comes to all these brands, it's all sustainable at the same time affordable as well. So we have looked into every product in terms of the functionality, at the same time looking at the pocket friendliness also. And when it comes to the product range, we have products which conforms to IGBC LEED or Griha and Green Pro as well. And when it comes to all these three rating systems, water efficiency or water management is one of the key things. And we come into play because of that reason, because almost if you look at in the Griha thing also, 17% of the management water management is ranking for 17% is what we have there. And similarly for water efficiency, we have 10 points in LEED, and similarly in Green Pro as well. So whatever products we manufacture, whatever products we launch, we'll look at this aspect of sustainability as well as affordability, and we ensure that it is pocket friendly and can reach every segment of customers that we have. So just to look at the water savings that we give it to our customers as well as builders, from a non-star rated product to the star rated, there is a savings definitely of more than 30%. But when it comes to a single flush to dual flush, we give a saving of more than 60%. So that's how we contribute to this environment and to the society. And these are some of the first that Hindware I can talk about. Hindware is India's first and largest manufacturers of star-rated sanitaryware and faucets. We have more than 200 plus products coming into this category. And as a socially responsible brand, we care for the environment as well as the pocket friendliness of the customer. And we have been bestowed with UIPC certification for our products, and same on the star rated half and full fledged products here. Hindware has an enviable range of 20 plus faucet range in the kitty, which conforms to IAPMO standards. Then when we come to the faucets, the star rated products that we have in our kitty currently, we boast of saving more than 52% of water overall. Thus, conforming to all the standards which are in place, and even contributing to the nature, Mother Nature. We have more than 26 range of EWC models, which saves more than 65,000 liters every year per household. So that's a kind of products that we manufacture. At the same time, when we manufacture these products, we see to it that it is even pocket friendly and it is affordable. So take any range of products that we have, whether it is a HPPS, Benelaway, Hindware, Cure, Alchemy, we ensure it's all pocket friendly as well as conforming to all these standards which are in practice. These are some of the products which have from various ranges, which conforms to these water saving models that we have. And we have more than 145 range of faucets, which has been approved and conforming to Green Pro standards. Then we have more than 193 sanitaryware range that conforms to green products as well. So, since we had a very short time, so I would like to keep it very sweet and short. At the same time, I just want to run a special AV, which is Thoughtful is Beautiful, which is our current promotional thing, which is happening, and that is conforming to current scenario of pandemic. Thank you very much.
Sophia, I request you to
Yes.
come and address the gathering.
I would like to thank Hindware for being associated with CREDAI. We are confident that this will be a long-lasting, mutually beneficial one. As an active member of Sustainable Committee representing East Zone, I would like to introduce Dr. Hariharan Chandrasekhar. He is an Indian environmental economist, entrepreneur, green business mentor, writer, policy advocate, and urban analyst. He has been focusing on environmentally friendly homes as a founder of Biodiversity Conservation India Limited and Altec Foundation from times when we only used to know that green is just used for color. Sir, we would like to hear from you on the importance of having sustainable infrastructure, especially now in the post-pandemic world. We want you to bust the popular myths that are stopping many from walking the sustainability path. Green is affordable.
Thank you, Sophia. I know you've been doing some lovely work out there in Bhubaneswar. Thanks to Suhail, thanks to Abhishek, thanks to everybody in the CREDAI Youth Committee. Very lovely to hear. It's music to my ears that someone like Abhishek is saying that we're going to have master classes. He says, I will have sessions on water balance, on carbon balance. This is absolutely lovely. CREDAI signed up, I think, in 2012 or 13 with IGBC, and then we've been trying to see how we can move to the next step. And it's absolutely delightful to hear that you're going to have some CREDAI Sustainability Awards and so on. Time had come probably 20 years ago, if you ask me, for the world to change. The dialogue on sustainability in both academia and in industry actually began I would think about 1998 or 2000 at the turn of the millennium. Like our, like Harshvardhan said just now, well, the need for going green with the building energy cost, that is your post-occupancy energy cost being about 31, 32% in India, the world average being about 40%, is absolutely clear. But nobody tells us, in many meetings, people have asked me after, we have had a session, let's say, they say, okay, all this is nice, we need to go sustainable, but tell me, I say, how do you go sustainable? What are the things I do to my building? So the how is what is missing. The why is becoming clear to a lot more people. The what and the how of doing these things is what I think we should do. We should get on to talking about. At the end of this, maybe about 25-30 minutes that I will spend with you all, if I have managed to get across to you some 3 or 4 elements of what you and I, or you should be doing as a builder to get to making your building not just green, but also manage to make it at the same capex cost while reducing the opex cost, I think we will have achieved something in the next 30 minutes. Faiza, can I ask you to share the screen, please? And we'll get on with what we need to be doing just now.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. I've requested another colleague to share the screen so that I can then continue to be speaking to you all. I'm going to get straight to, put it on the view mode. I'll get to straight to what we need to be doing. The next slide, please, if you don't mind. You know this. I'm not going to speak about this. The next one is what is really important. I have deliberately put this here. I will be revisiting this slide at the end of this session. I have broken this into 2 parts, actually. I will have this session probably of about 18-20 minutes. And then I'll break for you to ask me a few things or share some insights. I don't expect to know all the answers. I want to see if I can learn from some of you who have been, doing practices that have made these things happen. I know that many of you builders here have already driven some of these, green elements, shall we say. Some of you have certified buildings with the Indian Green Building Council. Remember this. What is interesting is that of the total certified green buildings under the IGBC's rating systems, we have about 27 rating systems now with the net zero water rating system that will be launched this year. 60%, over 60% are residential buildings. Now tell me, why would a builder actually go green or seek for a certification if the cost is more? He either has to believe that he will be able to market better, like some of you builders have been doing, or he must be able to achieve it with no extra capex. Is that possible? Look at this. Typically, you'll all be spending about this much. Well, we can argue, okay, my cost is a little more on something, a little less on something else. 1,800 rupees approximately is the cost. And across India, I can tell you this figure doesn't vary. For example, if I were to take that, on the right side, if I were to take, say, that 180 rupees per square foot of concrete, today you're buying steel at about 50,000 rupees. You're buying, your labor for just the formwork will be about 200 plus. Waterproofing is something we forget. I put only about 30 rupees at the square foot, but at the quantum level of the actual areas that you're going to be waterproofing, you should be paying about 80 to 100 rupees, especially on podiums and such things that you do. On the left, if you see HVAC, I have deliberately put that at 0 because I have taken this to be a residential kind of a segment. Most of you who are here are in the residential sector. But if you're building something as a commercial building and it has a central air conditioning value, well, this pie chart will change a little, and you're all smart guys. You'll know how to make that change. On the left top, labor, I have put it about 350 at 10 o'clock, let's say, on the screen. Now, at about 4 o'clock, I have put 125 rupees for joinery. At 6, I have put 40 rupees for sanitary fitting. This the kind of stuff that, say, Hindustan Sanitary Ware puts up, or Hindware puts up, or R.K. Somani Saab has been a member, for about 15 years with the IGBC, for instance. So these figures you might want to vary a little, but remember that the smaller values, for example, look at, let's say 20 rupees for painting at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., let's say, on my pie chart. That rupees 20 is so small. If you got smart and you used a low toxic paint, you know what happens to you? There is a purchase vendor manager that you have as a CEO. That guy says, "Arey sir, iska to we say 40 rupees per kilo zyada mang rahe." So you decide not to put it in. STP, for instance, I put 45 rupees now. If you decide that I will spend that 5 rupees more, I say, but I will make a system that is going to be robust. Instead of battling to see how I will undersize an STP or go for a system that is cheaper and not cost effective. There's a world of difference between the two. As smart leaders, you all know what I'm talking about. If we can start thinking about these holistic approaches, for example, if on building blocks, which is at, let's say at 4, between 3 and 4 p.m., rupees 80 blocks for walls have written. The building block, if you were to buy a regular concrete block today, 45 kg per square centimeter or 4.5 Newton, and it will cost you about 55 rupees per block, 200 mm or 190 mm that you get on the market. If you decide, I will spend 70 rupees, but I will get a block which will have a smoother finish, reduce my plastering cost, and increase my thermal efficiency, let us say, for the building. Actually, what you would have done is converted back at the square feet level, you would have probably added 8-9 rupees per square foot. On your overall cost, which I will discuss later, it's not even 7%, 5%. Remember that, because if I take 1,800 and I take 80 rupees, very small cost. Let's move on to the next slide from here. Remember this, because without cost, there is no sustainability. You will not do it. I will not do it as a builder. If I don't know, see, it's all very well to say, well, the world has to go. We have to do all the things those wonderful things Mr. Pathodia talked about, or Gurmeet will talk about later. All the multiple seminars that we have gone into, you know what we have said or what people have said. But it's not going to happen if it's not going to make sense for me or you in terms of cost. Now look at this. These are the 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 areas where you can bring change. And that first one, that is at, let's say, I will say 2 p.m. on my clock, structural efficiencies. You know what happens? Typically for you as a builder, your chase is on loans and how you structure your fund. Your chase is on how to get the interest cost absolutely right. Ensure that your sales is going to happen and your spend on the project cost is the minimal, and that sales revenues actually make the project happen. Dream for all of us. We don't want to put any money as much as possible. The land, actually, you have already had to spend money to get that damn land in place, and that has cost you money. Now, the problem is, when you see an architect walking into your office, he's actually a cost of probably 20 rupees, 25 rupees for you. You don't have the time to spend with this architect. The architect excites you. It's important for you at the visual level that the customer is going to be excited with what you are going to offer to him. You need some unique elements. And therefore, you have to suffer this architect as a builder. Builder walks away from your room. अरे ये तो वैसे 2-2.5% का आदमी है वैसे हमारे total cost पे on 1,800 rupees I am going to pay him some 20 rupees. I mean, what is this you are doing with him? The other thing that happens to us is, hey, we start bargaining. We say, no. Why should I pay you 25 rupees? I will pay you 18 rupees. Actually, if you look at the 4 costs that you have got of professionals, one is your architect. And if you actually sensibly work with a fellow who also understands structural efficiency, that is, typically you get your schematic, you do your sanction plan, your worry is on the sanction plan and getting it cleared with the government, paying paisa, andar, bahar, this, that, all that is your challenge for the first 3-4 months. And then you move into this phase where the structural fellow has come in, architect has actually got him in, you have had not the time to look at the steel, the spans and such things. The brief was not provided by you, but by the architect or probably some project engineer in your office or project manager. By the time you have got the cost post-structural drawings, you find that your estimates from the structural to what came post-structural, from the architectural to post-structural has varied. And it can vary as much as 40 to 50 rupees on your shell cost of about 400, 450 rupees. Remember that if you don't concentrate, focus on what the architect is giving you right at the beginning, in a way that the brief for your structurals is also offered, you're dead. For instance, if you go with a precast concrete as an option, or you go with Maivan as an option, you're stuck with the damn thing. If you go with precast and if you don't have this PHE and the electrical drawings in time, or if you have not done your basement and your columns and the spans properly enough, if you have not done, in one case I saw, for instance, the podium, the architect had, the structural consultant had given it at about 280 mm or so. They did the thing, some of the cores were also cut. After that, they found that the waterproofing was not right enough. They had to spend another 130 to 140 rupees per square foot at the overall square feet level. Can you imagine the damage that happens to the building if you don't focus and take care right at the beginning of your architectural and your structural cost. Air management, waste management, and all this I'll talk about. But the important thing is that I want you to remember that at the beginning, while you worry about money and interest and how you're going to repay back, if many of you would have gone through 1 or 2, 3 debt cycles. You've taken some, let's say about 20 crores, you've paid that back. The second time around, you've taken some 40, 50 crores. And you're now at a stage where you're on the 3rd cycle. Bankers are willing to support you. Confidence is high. You've now started 2 projects, COVID or no COVID, you're selling. But at this point, if you don't focus on getting these things right, not about cost per square foot, not about linear cost of bargaining and saying, I will get L1 instead of L3, but about getting a holistic approach to this whole thing, it will not happen. Now, let's move on to some of the other thoughts that I want to share with you quickly enough. Go on. There you are. Like Abhishek said, there will be other sessions that, these youngsters will have for all of you. These are not things that, we can cover in a 20-minute session. The idea is to whet your appetite. Why am I putting these up here? I want you to know that beyond the financial cost, there are non-financial parameters. This is what will go, let us say, into your customer brochure. How do I tell my customer? The customer doesn't want to know what you did. The customer doesn't want to know what value engineering you're doing. He wants to know what you're delivering to me. He also wants to know what did you deliver to your earlier customer in some other project and apartment, and whether that customer, not you, he doesn't trust you at all. He wants to know if that customer is actually willing to say, hey, Mr. Builder X actually, or Mrs. Builder X, sorry, did actually deliver these things. So how do you focus on these things is philosophy today. I'm not saying that I can delve into this in detail just now, but remember that if you combine what I called, for 40 years, I've called this a blend of traditional knowledge or wisdom, shall we say, with contemporary engineering. So if you talk about how India built in the past, there are, trust me on this, there are multiple ways you can actually absorb, interpret, and, shall we say, internalize many of the things that India has done and put it down into even a high-rise project that you have got. I mean, I could give you examples, but this isn't the time or the forum for that. So you know what I'm talking about here. For example, like somebody said just now, one of the speakers said earlier, hey, if you're going to get into building rating, these are the things. I think it was Rakesh who said this, that, if you buy this as a product, under the methodology of the rating system, you will get this as points and so on. Yes, I have no challenge with the methodology, but first you need to assimilate not the why of the vision of sustainability, but how they can integrate, how they can synthesize. Next one, please. Look at this. Obviously, I don't even have to tell you what this means. You all know how you can win on it. I can tell you of builders just now, this guy in Nagpur, somebody else in Jaipur, 2 of them in Chennai, many in Bangalore, at least there are 4 or 5 of them who are clearly seeing this. They're not talking about it. They're actually seeing this happening for their projects, right? Now, how they convert that into brand, it takes time. When I did it in, say, 2004 or 5, as Suhail said another day, I got fed up being a builder and I moved on to, accelerating sustainability. I do many other things. But the point is that 15 years ago, when I put out these full-page ads in Times of India and other places, people said, hey, hang on, what's wrong with you? Why would you talk about some, brand profile with climate-friendly homes? I remember an ad in 2009 or 10 that the company put up, the company that I used to run. Now others are running it. And people said, are you serious? Are you saying that this will sell? What is interesting is in 2019, just before COVID, there's another company in Bangalore, just happens to be in Bangalore, Club in any other city. They put out a full-page ad. They also claimed the same things about low carbon, all this sort of thing. And later I was talking to one of their project, their project director and their promoter of the building. Those guys said, I asked them only this question. I said, look, you have had 3 such front page ads. It's costing them about 12 lakhs to an ad. I said, are you actually getting some mileage out of it? They said, yeah, sure. And we want to continue this into the next year, they said. I don't know how they're doing post-COVID. I've not spoken to those guys. But the point is that people are willing to bet financially on green, not just betting philosophically on green, right? The next one. There you are. These are, I think our Harshvardhan also pointed this out. In 7 cities today, thanks to effort from IGBC and many other industry associations in India, including CREDAI, of course, we have managed to get Calcutta, for instance, platinum rated building can get 10% more FSI. Yeah. Now in Bangalore, in Karnataka, it's not happened. Chennai, I think you get 7.5% platinum, 5% for gold, and some 2.5% for the silver rated. Property taxes. Pune, for instance, was a pioneer. I think it was in 2005 or 6 that there was one Sardarji who was the mayor at that point in time, and he made this change. And I said, hey, I'm going to give you a subvention of 10% on this, 10% on on this whole business of property tax. If you have a certified green building that you have bought as a buyer, I'm saying as a home buyer. So these are obvious things. Chandigarh, Haryana, for instance, is given. Punjab is given. I'll not go into that. But my point is that India is clearly moving to that future. Forget about need for sustainability. There is a clear ecosystem today, one of options for synthesizing solutions, the other of regulations that are making it mandatory for you, and the third, that there are these ecosystems that are incentivizing also for industry to see how they can move to these green kinds of domains of approaches and directions. I'm not saying solutions itself, these are approaches. If you get the approach right, then you get your directions right, and then solutions come. Solutions are hard. You talk about money. Without money, there is no sustainability. If I don't know how to make a building not cheaper, but more cost effective or equally on par with another building with different approaches. Like I said about the building block, I pay more for the building block. I reduce on my structural values of steel and concrete, at the per cubic meter or at the per square meter level on the structurals, that is. I reduce also on my plastering cost. My building block cost has become higher. Excuse me. I'm saying don't be that linear, blinded kind of guy who look only at the cost of the material. Look beyond. Next one. There you are. These are buildings that have been built. These are all different kinds of things that people have taken at the non-scalable level. For example, the first thing as a builder you'll say is, hey, these are not scalable. I say they're looking nice. I can do it for my clubhouse or something, but I can't do it for a high rise. I've got a building now of about 20 meters, and I have a basement of say 4 meters. I know that it doesn't work for this, but that's okay. So my point is that look at the right side block. It avoids lintels, typically for a 1+3, ground +3, let us say a ground +4, 15-meter kind of a building. Without lintel, with those U blocks there and with those square blocks that you're seeing on top, these are blocks that are at 300 mm. Typically, you get a 200 mm. This is at 1 foot level. So, your profile, the external profile also will look very interesting for the building. I don't want to dwell too much on these things. Important thing, as those slug points mentioned on the slide is, how do I smartly get my retaining walls done without structural steel? Can I do it with 8 mm and 10 mm non-reinforcement steel? How do I get my basement slab done? I can show you multiple buildings. I'm sure you have built yourself sometimes, or maybe seen other buildings. I can do a basement slab without that kind of blessed thickness of 300 mm. But how? And how do I do it in a way that my building performance values are also not sort of compromised? Superstructure, as I said, on walls, multiple different options that you got today. Formwork, of course. Formwork, take a decision yourself as a builder. Don't listen to people. Get scenarios. Don't go by instinct. Get your cost scenarios sort of evaluated. If I went with Myvan, what happens? If I went with X and Y as options, what happens? Don't walk into a legacy of such solutions and then say, okay, uska samhala jayega. Don't do that. As a builder, if you don't take the right decision at the apex of it, you'll cascade a whole set of problems that other colleagues of yours will live with it, or financially also you'll suffer. So it's very important that you do it right the first time in terms of what you choose to do as a structure. Building blocks I told you about. Go on, let's move on. Yeah. These are very, very basic things. You all know about it. I will only say this. If you sort of build the legacy into your building of these things, if let's say you're building, I'll give you an example. If let's say you're building an apartment of say 500 flats, typically you will have about 3 lakh liters, maybe 3.2 lakh liters of total demand that the apartment association or society will have at the end of it. How do I now build it in a way that I have brought this down by at least say 60 to 70%. You know, and how do I build that loop? I think it was Harshvardhan who spoke about the loop. So we need to see how things are put into a loop, but with the PhD guy working with you. Today, and this is a public forum, I don't want to run down anybody. Typical PhD consultant or the electrical consultant is not willing to listen to you. If you know the brief that you need to lay, for example, for a row house project or for an apartment project is, I have a home of say 3-bedder, 2-bedder. I want peak load, for instance, that is a contract demand load, to be no more than 3 kilowatts. People will tell you that you have to take it at 8 kilowatt. Now, why on earth have you got to do that? And if I were to say that you can make it at 3 kilowatts, so what are the things that I need to do? What are the hows? What are the whats? This is obvious to you. Fix these things in right at the start. Manage to convey this to your consumer, to your customer, I'll say, at the points of your brochure and sale and so on. And you have made for not only a healthy legacy that you can talk about in forums like these with other leaders, but you have made a business that is smarter, which is more effective, and also ensures that is better sale value for your project. Yeah, go on, please. Let's move. These are simple things. Water management, water shed management. I put this in because I wanted you to know there are two things. Water management is different from water shed management. India is a country which receives about 1 meter approximately as rainfall. If it's 1 meter, and if I got 1 acre, say 4,400, 300, 400 square meters, we are talking in terms of about 4 million liters to an acre. How do I use that in a year? How do I use that? How do I make a building standard today where 15% of my total water consumption for the year is coming from rainwater, which is, basically treated, nothing much to treat with rainwater, and put into your freshwater tank. It has to be like a rule in your building. Like somebody said some time ago, he said, we have made a policy in our project that only 30% of water will be brought in from the outside. I think what 70% is. Now, when he says outside, he means an external, a well that probably is owned within the building campus, or probably something that will come from tanker water. So let's understand this. Governments can't give you, anymore. Today, they can't give you water anyway. 50% in every city, wherever you belong to, I know you get only 50% of your water from your grid source. Energy, trust me on this, by 2028 to 2030, we don't have it. There are no options for India. Coal is going to run out in about 12,000 days, right? Oil is running out in about 12 to 15,000 days. Natural gas, they're putting up gas lines everywhere in front of your house. You know that. Natural gas can't last more than 20,000 days. Divided by 365, you know how many years? All I'm saying is these are all exhaustible resources. These guys have managed to plunder, loot, and finish it in the last, say, 50 years, right? From 1970 or so, which is a benchmark for me. All change came up from about 1970, and then our population exploded also, especially in India and China. Remember that if you can do that, 15% on your rainwater, one formula is set in place for your building. It can be an existing building also. Anyway, go on, Ma. That's energy management, COVID and all that. COVID is a flea bite, I can tell you. Nothing compared to what will hit you and me on for instance, global warming and flood. Ganga was flowing purer, they said, after COVID, 1 or 2 months after in Kanpur. Why? Because all the tannery units stopped. Everybody ground to a halt, and there was no water that was spouted up, put into the river. Yamuna, I was there, I think 3 or 4 months after COVID in Delhi, and I decided I will ask the cab guy to take me to the river. I went some point of it. I found that I could see about 3-4 feet below. People were telling me about this. I said, I decided I'll go and see it myself. My point to you is this. I'm not saying that you should stop doing business, like Kofi Annan said, that UN Secretary General 20 years ago, he said that. I wanted to see how you can do this business slightly differently. And keep your bottom line. Who says you should not earn money? We all should. But my only point is that look at different ways of doing this. These are simple systems. It won't cost you very much money. I'm not saying you put this money in. You offer this to your customer and say, hey, I can give you air filtration systems, which will give you PM 1.0. Forget about PM 2.5 today. External air, I need PM 10. How do I give you, for instance, you must be able to put out a board like somebody said 3-4 years ago. And we did it in some 2 hotels. Where into your apartment as I drive in at the gate, on the left it must say, you are entering a PM 2.5 zone, and you must guarantee that with the basic system. Trust me, they don't cost you too much. Are there enough solution providers? I'll say yes. There are probably 5-6 guys who are very good, reliable, ethical, competent, high on integrity right here in the country. Are they doing very well? I'll say no, because people don't know. You don't know about them. I didn't know about them until probably 3 or 4 years ago. So brand visibility for those guys doesn't exist. A Hindware can advertise with you and promote this event, let us say. But those guys don't have the money to do it just now because they're not getting enough business. So we'll have to see how synergies like this are bringing green solution providers to your table as builders and buyers. The next one, very quick. Yeah, waste management. I'm going to skip this. A lot of guys were doing this. It's a very, very large project. Subject. As a matter of fact, Gurmeet is not there. Suresh, our chairman of the Indian Green Building Council, is working on some of these things at something called Forum of Critical Utility Services. Very wonderful one called FOCUS, therefore, FOCUS. And he's looking at waste management, wastewater management. I'm looking at things with, there are technology guys from Canada and the UK who want to come to India. And they're saying that, that we would be happy to see if we can work with you all, how we can enter this market. And if you're a buyer in India, you're a beast. The first thing you want to know is not technology. What is the cost? It's like that old ad, of the Honda bike. Uska kitna lagega? You know how the arguments go with the Indian buyer. So these guys don't understand the Indian market, but they want to come into it because it's a very, very large market, whether it's for wastewater or for solid waste itself. Go on, Ma. We'll skip this. These are things like, like Abhishek said, carbon metrics also help you. I'm not saying this is going to help you at the customer level. I did these things about 15 years ago because, I couldn't get it across to customers. Okay. Like Suhail is saying, please line up your questions, put it up in the chat box if you like. The next one, please. Yeah, there you are. You can do lots of things like this in your clubhouse. See, where it is in your control as a builder, that is customer specifications don't apply. Do some things which are, inspiring, shall we say. I know some of you are already thinking about doing 0 food miles. Look at the second one. That is, on your terrace, how much food can you grow without having to transport vegetables and stuff? Can I grow things that can, in 97, I built one project, 43 acres or so. And I said, let's create a poultry farm here so that, your gobar can go into a biogas system, and we built a 20 kilowatt biogas system, whatever digester there at the time. And then we said the eggs can go in there, the meat can be used by the residents. And there were not too many residents in that project. I think I had only about 120, 125 people, families there living there. But what happened is 4 or 5 years ago, like everything in India happens, including with the government, there was no one to maintain it. As a builder, thank you, I was not willing to maintain that and continue to be there. And that has changed today. I'm telling a lot of builders today, please take over maintenance. Please offer at the first point of sale, tell them, look, I am going to continue to maintain your apartment for 5 years, 6 years, or whatever, and at so much rupees per square foot. It's easy to work this out. You can work this out yourself. You're smart guys. So I'm saying that, take control of O&M while you also put in the right things at CapEx levels. Go on, please. Anything else? That's it. These are all obvious things to you, so I'm going to skip this one. There is a green campus rating system. Please look at that. Please look at IGBC.in. There's another one, Green Residential Societies Rating System, GRS rating system. So, if you can look at some of these things and say to yourself, now there is a new one. Last year we introduced this called the Net Zero Energy Rating System. I was talking to some builder. He said, "Bhai, agar hum वैसे करना चाहेंगे वैसे, तो is the cost going to be any higher?" That is between say a gold, silver, platinum. If I let's say do a net zero energy rating system, is it going to cost me more? I'm saying no. It's a challenge. We need to see how we innovate to keep the cost down. See, disrupting technology is one thing. Disrupting cost is as important. The next one, please. All this is clear. Yeah, go on. That's it. Yeah, wonderful. I'll stop here. Lots of questions. I have only 4 more slides, let me tell you, but I will take them later. I will now learn from you all. Please tell me how I can. Let's see if we can share insights, perspectives. Go on.
So that was a wonderfully riveting session, sir. And it's midway through. There's quite a lot of questions that's coming in.
Okay, please.
I'll take the first one from Prakash Lohia.
Okay.
He is asking, is digitization, would it contribute to reduction in power consumption?
Of course it will, because it's a whole thing about 3M. If I know how to measure, I know how to monitor. And if I know how to monitor, I know how to manage better. It can happen in water, it can happen in energy. It can happen, definitely it will happen at the post-occupancy level, but even at the construction levels, as we are seeing with data analytics today, project management does not happen today without data analytics. In fact, it's becoming a major subject of learning. I will say yes to it. Short answer, yes. If you can write, I mean, they can always write to your group, Suhail, Credai Youth, and we can take that up and elaborate. Yeah, go on.
So Samir Sinha has another question. Hi, Hari. Green finance is becoming popular worldwide.
Absolutely.
Do you think we can influence banks in India to follow suit?
Morning, Samir. Nice to have you here. Wonderful to have you here from Ahmedabad. Samir, I'll put it like this. You know, things have changed. KFW came in here in 2014, I think, and they said, we are going to park in about 30 million as an innovation fund, 30 million euros. They did. It went as a secondary funding to some of these, housing finance corporations and so on. Today, I was talking to somebody in December last year, I mean, post-COVID into the 2020. These guys are talking about how about 280 million euros will come to India from, Swiss Re, of course, and such. But at a very hard, simple level, I'll tell you, you know the old ESCO story and the RESCO story. I come to your building. In fact, I was talking to Gurmeet about some building. I said, I come to your building and you say, sir, I've got 40,000 square feet. I say in 40,000 square feet divided now, I got about 4,000 square meters. And then I say, I'll come in and put, let's say roughly 1 square meter. I come and tell you, I'll put this much as kilowatt. I multiply that by say 1,500 units. I work out the math on it. You're all smart guys. Therefore, I'm saying, put a spreadsheet. And then I say, sir, you don't put in money, but you give me a deposit of say only 6 months. And I work this out in a way that there is a boot and some investor comes in, he earns his IRR of 18-20%. He exits in 7-8 years, whatever on a boot. And then you take over and run it for the rest of your life. Hi, Pranati, nice to see you. Your father is not there, I think. So I'm saying to you, Samir, and to the rest of you, clearly your project, pre-tax level, will not earn you any more than an IRR of, I would reckon, about 17-18% today, including the what is it called? The arbitrage that you get on your land. That is the land release that happens and the building construction margin put together. Forget about green. You cannot get any more than an IRR of 18-20% on your projects today. It's tough. You know, even 3 years ago, we were talking of about 25-26%, and all these wonderful fellows called the finance guys for the building industry used to come in and say, I want about 18% out of the money that you have that I have lent to you, they used to say. Short point, green equity financing is a separate area away from your project cost. There is one project where I think the total project cost is about 6 crores. I told them, remove this cost of your infrastructure and water and something else, about 1.2 crores or so. They're willing to do that. And there is somebody else who will keep his assets on his books of accounts, but the asset will lie in this project for the next 6-7 years. Then he exits. Samir, I don't know if that answers your question. Over to you, Suhail, once again. Clear market for green equity financing into the future. Yeah.
So quite a lot of questions. I'll just take 2 more.
Yeah.
So we have one which says, what types of bricks are good for sustainability? I'll club it with another one.
Yeah.
What is more sustainable practice? Complete aluminum formwork for the walls, or formwork plus AAC, or conventional formwork?
Tough one in the sense of time. See, aluminum is a fantastic option, but capex is higher for you. Therefore, your investment amortization will run for maybe 3 more buildings. If I, let's say, take for an investment of 1 lakh square feet, and I think that you're going to see, the important thing is, if you're doing such formwork, your design has to be the same. I have done this project with say a span of say 3 meters. I have built my entire floor plan in a certain way. Now I must do another project without the floor plan grid changing too much. Otherwise, what happens? My formwork doesn't get used well, and my amortization won't happen. There are ways of working, through this challenge. But all I'm saying is, aluminum is good, capex is high. In fact, for instance, if you went back to the old formwork that we used, for instance, metal, shuttering.
Yes.
Between that and plywood shuttering, you all know the cost difference. But if I did plywood shuttering, I de-release. I mean, after my release of the shutter, the finish that I get on the soffit is fantastic, right? Now, that's what you want as a customer. Now, if you further went and said, hey, I want a clean, for instance, if I took a slab like that, I removed the shutter on the top, on the first floor, therefore, I had a clean, dewacked kind of a finish, zero level finish I got. And then I decided I will not use tile. I will not use, therefore, 50 mm of cement mortar for that stupid thing called the, vitrified tile. I remove the vitrified tile. I go for a bamboo, treated bamboo, whatever kind of square foot. I buy it at say 120 rupees per square foot. I avoided cement mortar. I avoided the dead load. I go and tell the structural guy, I say, I don't want, what is it called? My dead load to be taken higher than this, and therefore you reduce my structural value. That is, higher the flow I go, lower the dead value you should be able to offer. In terms of weight, I'm saying.
While this is very interesting, do structural consultants agree to such reduction in steel? That's the challenge we face when we go to them.
Absolutely, Suhail. The builder, as far as the professional is concerned, for him, if you spend 1 crore, he gets his 1%, he gets 1 lakh. I'm so sorry I'm talking like this. This isn't the forum to actually badmouth anybody. But my point is, finally it is the buck stops with you. You means any of you as builders. If you guys don't take the right decision, if something goes wrong, those guys are not going to be with you, right? Therefore, think about a decision. I'm not saying, therefore, that the professional is wrong. I'm only saying this comprehensive, holistic approach to thinking has to come from the builder. And you can't say after a meeting, let us say 2 months after, Mr. Structural Consultant, say, you said this and therefore I did this. You can't say that. He can only advise you. The decision is yours.
So I think there's a lot of questions. We'll complete your presentation and take a couple of more questions before we wind up your session.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Only 4 slides. Go on. Now you look at it. Yeah, Faiza, thank you. The next one. Look at this. I showed you this earlier. Now you think about it again. As I said, in 25 minutes, what can I do? I can only whet your appetite. You have to come back on it, like Abhishek said. Maybe have more of these sessions from Kredai Youth. Go on, next. Now I have only 3 slides. Somebody is saying in commercial buildings, for developers and small offices, it is big. It is not, Pranati, it is not. I'll explain this to you since I know you well. Look at this now. Interestingly, I have converted that into percentages. That is the financial cost. I will take you to, let us say, 1 p.m. Concrete is showing 9.6%, right? Steel is showing 11.61% on this clock. And at 3 p.m., you're seeing frame labor of 11%. Forget the labor. Now you look at only that 1 p.m., 2 p.m. figure of 9 to 11, say about 20, 21%, right? Go to the next slide. Look at what happens to the next one, please. When I see here, look at this. The same concrete has become 31% when it comes to carbon emission. And steel has become 15%, that's 48%, against your financial cost of only 20%. When all the speakers who spoke today said, well, we need to bring sustainability, as let's say, for instance, when Mr. Pathodia said, hey, there's 40% going. He was talking actually 40% building energy only at the operating level. There is post-occupancy. But who on earth is going to talk about this construction energy? And construction energy, like I said earlier, typically depends upon what you get from your structural consultant. And your cost has to actually reduce. If you are spending, let us say, 400, 450 rupees, go back to the first slide, Faisal. If you are spending, say, 400 to 450 rupees per square foot, the previous one, on cost, yeah. You can see that between concrete and steel, it's talking 380, your labor cost at 220. That is 1, 2, 3, I'm talking. 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m. If that is your cost, could be a little less, maybe you're spending a little less. But my point is that in this, if you're able to become cost effective while you're becoming carbon effective, how do I reduce that 47, 48% of carbon emission and say my building is low carbon, even on construction cost and not just on OPEX cost? Next one, please. Go back to the second slide here. Third slide. Look at this as carbon tonnage. Okay, now go back to the previous slide. Sorry. See this, here I'm talking in terms of carbon tonnage. The one before this, percentage. Go back to the previous one, the percentage cost. Cost, yeah. No, not carbon tonnage, cost, yeah. Here, look at that floor at 4 p.m., 5 p.m. Floor is 6.45%. Joinery is 6%. Blocks is 5%. Sanitary fittings, look at that 2.58%. If somebody like Rakesh Nair says, he was constantly saying pocket friendly, 4 times he said pocket friendly. Why? Because he is meeting all these wonderful, horrible fellows in your companies called vendor manager who says, "Ye kya sir, aap 400 mein bik rahe hain uska, aur kisi aur ne kaha ki uska 250 mein mil jayega." This is the rubbish that you're, sorry, some of the officers down the line do. I'm saying, tell this guy from Mr. Rakesh Nair and Hindware or somebody else like Gabriel, you tell them, look, you cost me more, I don't care. But if my costing today is 2.58% on sanitary fittings, I'm willing to go for 3%. I'm willing to go for 3.5%. But tell me that your system will avoid all wastage. I don't want jhamela of some, labor and all the coordination challenges that you all know you have on a project review meeting on Fridays. Tell me that you will sort this out for me and give me time efficiency. Because time is money for you. Because if you have taken money at 18, 20%, if a project instead of 12 months is going to take you some 24 months, you're dead. So please take decisions like that as a CEO, as a CXO of your company. I know you're already doing this, but I'm only adding this extra value. I'm sensitizing you to this. Sorry if I meant any offense. I'm not saying that you're not doing this. But as leaders, and you're all young leaders today, you're 38, 40, you have another 10, 12, 15 years of good buildings, of increasing scale of your buildings. You have already a reputation and you need to build on that. So I'd like you to keep this in mind. This matrix will help you where the cost is very high. For example, go to some 2 or 3 p.m., 11% cost, 9% on concrete. See the frame labor that is at 3 p.m. and the 10 p.m. cost of labor, 13% plus this, you've got 25%, approximately 25, sometimes 30% is labor cost. How on earth, look at that, waterproofing cost, 2%. There are builders who have told me, and it's unfair, but I must mention this to you. They'll say, "Arey sir, ye sab chodo aap. Why are you talking to me about some 100 rupee material per square foot? I do this. There is a vendor who has been doing for the last 4 projects. He does it at 32 rupees per square foot. I will go with him." I don't argue with them because today I don't have to run bottom lines. Happily, I don't run a company. But I keep telling them, don't do this. Don't get penny wise and lose out in the long run. That's it, Suhail, on my side.
That was a wonderful presentation. So we'll just take a couple of questions before we wind up.
Yeah, keep that. Sure, Suhail.
Mikhail James has asked an interesting question. Is there technology in place currently to create apartments that can produce up to 60% food and energy requirements of residents? If so, can you give some leads?
Mikhail, I'll put it like this to you. If you have, let us say, 1,000 square feet of a roof, approximately 1 week, you can produce about 5 kgs per square foot at a very conservative level. But you have to work on it. Farming is like every day, If you're willing to work on it, there are enough websites today who will tell you about rooftop harvesting and 0 food miles. Go on, next to it. If you're from Bombay, you must go to the Mazagon Docks. Dr. Joshi Saab started in 92. For the canteen in Mazagon Docks, 100% vegetables come, and there are about 4,000 employees. Completely, it comes from only their own rooftops. Please go to Mazagon Dock if you're in Bombay. Yes, sir.
So one last question from Nikhil. We have addressed huge environment wastage at labor colonies for each project we undertake. How could we control that and make it a part of green rating systems?
There is indeed some points are already available. We can discuss this offline, but I certainly know that something is available for this.
Sure, Nikhil, we will get back to you on that.
Yes, Nikhil. Certainly it is available. Nikhil, and I'm very glad you said that about our workers. I mean, look at what happened to this country post-COVID. We, for us, it's some, some percentage, some pain, some contractor has to do. There are builders. 5-6 years ago, I remember, I was asking builders, I said, "Bhai, C&D ka kya karoge?" No, we don't do it. Actually, it's given to contractors. I said, "What contractor? Finally, it's your project." Now, all I'm saying is for C&D, debris, you have to see how you covenant in your contract clause that it will be taken to a certain place and used. In fact, I think your president just now spoke about it and he said, "Hey, how do I reuse some of the material? Use it for your subgrade, for your roads. You all make typically, in a project, you're making at least half a kilometer, 1 kilometer. In large projects that I did, I used to have some 11 kilometers of roads, of probably only about 10 meters and 12 meters. But my point is that you all have roads to make. Make them with subgrade, with all such material. Get the contractor to take responsibility for these things. Back to you, Sahil. I mean, there are other speakers, so we have to.
I'll just wind up your session.
Yeah,
because
you should.
You should. Overshot. So
Yeah.
what stuck in your talk was your comment on we have to suffer our architects. And I would extend that to suffer our consultants as well. So it's very tough to get people who are thinking on sustainable lines and guide us in the right manner. Also, the way you presented the whole thing of not just about renewable or hardcore sustainability, you focus on the fact that sustainability also comes from reducing your costs to yourself first. And that's another big angle to sustainability. It has been a wonderful session, sir, and we hope to hear more from you sometime in future as well. So
Sure.
thank you very much.
Sure.
And the previous time our sponsor Hinduaz AV did not play well. So I will just play it once again before I call Pranati to introduce our next speaker.
Sure, Gurmeet will have some inspiring things to say after that. We'll listen to Gurmeet also after.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Well, we have gone from morning to afternoon, Hariharan.
Absolutely.
Horses how by washroom. Beautiful.
Sense tap, touch free.
Thanda. Not thanda.
Almost static stuff. Nice one, Ariana. Silent flushing technology. The Hindware Italian collection.
So thoughtful.
Yeah.
But it's so beautiful.
Actually, thoughtful is beautiful. Hindware Italian collection.
Thank you. Thank you, Sohail. I'm glad today to introduce our next speaker for today, Gurmeet sir. As an active member of the Sustainability Committee West Zone, it is an honor to invite Gurmeet sir Arora, who's the managing director at Rakko Group, manufacturing of copper tubes, fittings, and other allied products. He's the national president of the Indian Plumbing Association and has been in this leadership position since 1993. Under his leadership, IPA grew 83% in the last 3 years. In October, he was awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award, the highest honor of IPA. He leads the Mumbai chapter of IGBC also, which has the highest green footprint in India. He is the National Vice Chairman of CII IGBC. He joined the Green Building Movement in 2001 and has been part of the movement since its inception as a founding member of the council. He is also the director of the Indian Plumbing Skill Council, which is mandated to skill 1.2 million plumbers in 10 years under the NSDC. Gurmeet sir has achieved many awards, including from Brihan Mumbai Licensed Plumbing Association, IPA, Pumps India, Nehru Science Center, and many more to his grant. With great insight and study on water, I'm sure he will take us through a journey which will truly inspire us and share his insights. Over to you, Gurmeet sir.
Thank you, Pranati. Good afternoon to all of you. Let me share my screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Well, Mr. Harshvardhan Patodia ji, Abhishek, Sophia, Sohail, Pranati, Rakesh, the Sustainability Group. Fantastic. We not only have a sustainability group, but you're also looking at sustainability awards in CREDAI. I am indeed grateful to CREDAI National and CREDAI Sustainability Group who have invited me for this important webinar. While congratulating you, I would like to thank the entire team for initiating this webinar, which is of immense national importance. Ladies and gentlemen, the human civilization is at crossroads. On one hand, we look at consumption as a reason for growth. Look at the US unveiling a 6 trillion spending budget to enhance growth, combat climate change, and increase spending. Spending fuels consumption, spending fuels inflation, spending fuels global warming. The human race is at crossroads today. We are looking at irreversible change to our environment and ultimately to us. The coronavirus has brought mankind to its knees, and no solution is at sight at present. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a case of inaction, human inaction, rather than action, in protecting depleting but fully necessary resources. And the consequences are now faced by you and will be faced by your children. The principal caused in increased demand is not in itself or the mere growth of population, but the disproportionate and unsustainable use of our resources for production and consumption is misuse, treating our resources and this Mother Earth with disrespect for future populations to suffer. The dignity of the human person mandates its acknowledgement along with the sound and logical augmentation found in the concept of implicit inclusion of the 5 elements of nature as in Jal, Vayu, Agni, Akash and Dharti. The right to this, ladies and gentlemen, is thus inalienable. In his opening remarks, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres in the United Nations Climate Summit said, there is a cost to everything, but the biggest cost is doing nothing. And that's where I would like to speak to all your 12,500 CREDAI members that the biggest cost is doing nothing. I am going to prove to you in the next 20 minutes that green buildings make business sense. They do not cost you more than 1 or 2%. And therefore, but the IGBC logo on your project will get you, is a USP, it will get you a premium because your project will be a healthy living space. It will be certified as green, which I'm going to show you the different attributes in the next 20 minutes. So whether you're a developer, a builder, an architect, or even a manufacturer like me, it is our solemn responsibility to jointly or to ensure that whatever we produce or build must be sustainable. I am not asking you to compromise on your profits, your work output, or your clientele, but in fact, we will build sustainable structures and healthy living spaces for our clients. The IGBC is amongst another 2 rating agencies in India. You have GRIHA, USGBC. IGBC has 93% market share in India. We are the 2nd largest green building council in the world. We started only in 2001 with 20,000 square feet. We are now at 783 crore square feet of green footprint under IGBC. We signed the MOU with CREDAI in 2011, renewed it in 2015, and again renewed it with the last president, Honorable Satish Magarji, in 2019. Now, I won't go into the highlights of the MOU, but we will handhold, guide, and support all CREDAI members, including training and capacity building from IGBC, free of cost. We are a not-for-profit making organization. We are not here to make. Our only motive is, can we save Mother Earth for our children and their children to come? Anyway, we cannot reverse global warming, but can we at least stop global warming where it is today? So there are discounts on IGBC programs, events and workshops. There's discounts on the certification for CREDAI members. We will work with you for the long haul. There are a lot of members of CREDAI who are IGBC office bearers or who have been past office bearers like Lalit Kumar Jain ji, Shekhar Reddy, Jakshay Shah, JP Shroff, Sophia Firdaus, Ravi Raheja, Sushil Mota, many of them, I won't name all of them, who are involved within IGBC, not only at our executive board level, but also in our technical committees, making the ratings. And therefore, the ratings which I'm going to show you are designed for the construction industry. We started in 2001. We are a center of excellence of the CII, Confederation of Indian Industries. Our vision is to enable sustainable built environment for all and India to be a global leader in sustainable built environment by 2025. We have now committed to the World Green Building Council that all buildings existing and new in India will be net zero water, net zero energy, net zero carbon, and net zero waste. So can you imagine a building stand alone in a municipality not requiring energy or water from the grid? I want to show you our headquarters. Now, I want you to particularly see the roof. You will see the green roof on top, a lot of greenery, the gardens on top. And on the right side, as Hariharan said, at 3 o'clock, something new I learned today, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, you can do that at a pie chart. So at 3 o'clock, you can see the solar panels on the building. Now I'm going to show you what the building has changed. And I'm going to show you one more photograph later. This building was inaugurated in 2004 by His Excellency, the President of India, late APJ Abdul Kalam ji. Mr. Barnala is standing behind. We see Jamshed Godrej, much younger at that time. Now look at this building. All the black panels you see on top are photovoltaic solar panels, which not only generate energy from the top of the photovoltaic panel, but also from the bottom. And therefore, even if my panel is here and my panel is in the sun's shadow region, the reflective paint reflects the heat of the sun on the bottom of the photovoltaic panel, and I am producing energy 24/7 till the sunlight is there. Now, can you imagine this building now is not only net zero energy, but it produces more energy than it can consume, and therefore it gives back to the grid. All your projects can be net zero energy. The strengths of CII-IGBC are, we have a strong professional team of 250 professionals. We handhold projects from design to delivery of certification and rating, training and capacity building. We have 27 chapters, 27 chairmen and their committees, vice chairmen managing the IGBC, and we have 64 CII offices supporting us. We are also founding members of the World Green Building Council. Now, we started in 2001. The first green building, the photograph that I showed you, costed 18% more over a conventional building. Today, we are at 783 crore square feet, 6,500 odd projects, and a green certified building does not cost more than 1 or 2% more. That means your ROI is within 6 months to 1 year, but what do you offer to your clients? You offer a lot, which I'm going to show you in the next 5 minutes. Our aspirations don't stop there. We have to touch 10 billion square feet when India turns young at 2022. So we have a lot to go, but our target is 10 billion square feet, 1,000 crore square feet in India. And that's where we want to become the largest green building council in the world. Not number 2, but number 1, and an Indian entity, ladies and gentlemen. That makes us proud. Well, green buildings use less water, they optimize on energy efficiency, they conserve natural resources, they generate less waste, they are healthier living spaces for people. A green hospital has a recovery rate 20% faster than a conventional hospital. A green data center, a green software center with thousands of people has a 25% higher productivity rate. You have less absenteeism, you have less employee, you retain your employees leave you at a lesser rate, and therefore green buildings make good business sense. They are healthier living spaces. Now we look at the key areas in IGBC as a whole approach, site selection and planning in the beginning. As Dr. Hariharan said, it's important to merge green at the beginning of your project so you know what materials to use and what not to use. We look at water conservation by 40-50%. We look at energy efficiency by 40%. We look at building material and resources, using materials which are in abundance rather than in depletion. We look at indoor and outdoor environment quality. That's why they are healthier living spaces. The 28 ratings of IGBC have used the 5 Panchbhutas, Jal, Vayu, Agni, Akash, Dharti in all our ratings. And therefore, we try and use natural materials. We look at Jali work where we can have ventilation. We bring in light, but not the heat. And there are many, many other aspects which I'll get into. So basically, the 28 rating systems cover every topography of a project. For example, a metro station is air conditioned, requires high energy, does not have public toilets, restrooms, but a railway station requires a lot of water, does not have air conditioning, and has many restrooms for the public. So the requirements are completely different, and therefore a hospitality or a healthcare unit would require 400 liters of water per head per day. A hotel may require 280, 300 liters of water per head per day. A residence only requires 100 liters. My municipal corporation in Mumbai only gives me 90 liters of water per head per day to a maximum of 450 liters per flat. Now, what happens when a Batanwali Bai comes and washes the utensils? The water is flowing, 200 liters have gone. Or you're standing under the shower, you think you're Mohammad Rafi or Lata Mangeshkar, you start singing. I do not know why we cannot sing in our bedrooms and not in our showers, where you waste 100 liters just singing under your shower. Your WC, your pot, your flush is not a dustbin. Please don't use it as a dustbin. Put things in and flush again and again. So I'll just go back to the ratings again. I'll stress on the residential ratings for you. We have IGBC green homes. We have green residential societies that Dr. Hariharan threw light on. We have green affordable housing also. We have green cities, existing cities, villages. We have certified a lot of villages for their greenness, green townships, green landscapes. So we cover every topography of a project, whether a police station, a petrol pump, IGBC certifies small and big. We have green interiors. So we are not going to tell you that your project is small or it's too large for us. We are certifying cities. We are there to work with you in partnership. Our ratings are simple in terms of understanding, and we will handhold you. They are demanding in terms of performance, but they are profound in terms of the impact. Buildings, optimizing life cycle economic importance, reducing buildings, whether certified silver, gold, or platinum. Now, I am giving you some figures which will show you what is our impact. Now, this impact is on 2,000 odd certified projects. We have 4,500 odd projects. So I'm talking of less than 50%. We are saving 15 billion kilowatt hour units of energy per annum, which can light up 41 million households. We are saving 46 billion liters of water per annum, which is equivalent to 2 months water supply of Hyderabad. We are saving 12 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions per annum. We spoke, Patodia Saab spoke of 40% carbon emission from the construction industry, 20% from steel and cement. We are saving 12 million tons of carbon dioxide CO2 per annum, which can take away the carbon emissions of 14 million cars from the road. So certainly there is a very high impact of what IGBC has done in this country. And I repeat, we are not for profit. We're not here to make money from you. We have facilitated more than 1,000 megawatt. Your Kundakulam project near Chennai, nuclear power is 1,000 megawatt. We have already facilitated 1,000 megawatt of renewable energy so far. IGBC certified projects have diverted 500 tons of construction waste per 10 lakh square feet. So every 10 lakh square feet, we save 500 tons of construction waste, which you are anyway dumping somewhere. It's a cost to you. We use it at site. Now, coming to intangible profit benefits, what I was telling you earlier, look at productivity. Your productivity goes up by 32%. I know friends who are in platinum-rated buildings, and they say, oh, it's 7 o'clock, I have to go home. You have to see the watch. There's no fatigue factor. You don't get tired. We reduce absenteeism by 32%. We increase retention of employees by 11%. And these are all documented figures. I am not telling you this from my heart. These are figures from our projects. The reduction of communicable respiratory diseases by 13-14%, reduction in allergies and asthma by about 20%, 21%, reduction in non-specific health and discomfort by about 35%. Now, there are many incentives. You get MOEF clearance, faster MOEF clearance if you are a certified IGBC project, pre-certified. You get FSI or FAR, floor area ratio or floor space index from 5 to 15% in many, many states, including West Bengal, Maharashtra, Jharkhand, Gujarat, Punjab, Rajasthan. If you want, we can work with CREDAI to approach the Government of India, Ministry of Housing to ensure that these incentives are given uniformly for all states. You get reduction in permit fee, reduction in surcharge of stamp duty. The National Housing Bank has already disbursed 90% of 150 million euros of a credit line for refinancing at lower interest rates for green homes of IGBC, which are energy efficient. We have Sunref. Sunref also will give you reimburse you the money for the certification process of IGBC, and they lend to primary lending institutions for economically weaker sections, for the lower income group and middle income groups, for IGBC gold or platinum, not for silver or certified, but for gold and platinum projects, especially for the affordable green housing. Now, the certification process I won't go into, it's on the website. It's very simple. You can go to www.igbc.in and it's all available to you. You get a pre-certification based on your design, your drawings, your declarations, and you have to give us 6 monthly submissions so that we make sure that the building performance is as promised in the beginning. And after 3 years, we will again audit you so that the building performance is maintained or surpasses what was earlier committed. I won't get into the certification process, but as I told you, we have certified silver, gold, and platinum depending on what you implement. Now, I'll come into the important part of green home rating. Close to 1,000 out of your 12,500 CREDAI members have already adopted IGBC green rating. You are, ladies and gentlemen, lending your name to your project site. Raheja so-and-so, Kalpatru so-and-so, DLF so-and-so. It's your reputation. It's your USP. Your IGBC logo on your IGBC shield that I showed, you can see on the bottom of the screen at 6 o'clock, is your reputation, your USP. CREDAI members have been part of the technical committees for the green homes, and basically we have 19 lakh dwellings, flats already with IGBC under the green homes, ranging from all kinds of topography, individual residential units or multi-buildings, societies. Now, we launched this rating in 2008. 2019 is the 4th version. And this was launched I can see Shekhar Reddy of CREDAI over there, also chairman of our IGBC Hyderabad chapter. We launched this rating, 4th version, version 3, on 28th September 2019. Likewise, the version 3 talks of water metering. What you can measure, you can manage. Dr. Hariharan used that phrase. If you cannot measure, you cannot manage. And water metering is one very, very important aspect. Our energy baselines are in line with the ECBC. We consider landscape over podiums and vertical structures. We look at ventilation for basements. Rainwater harvesting calculation is simplified. And we document all the tangible savings from the project for 3 years. So this is the points that we give. Sustainable sites, water conservation is even more than energy, because your country has 17% of the world's population, but only 4% of its fresh water. There is an anomaly. We have a problem. You may not know it, but my cell phone, this cell phone uses 300 liters to make what we call virtual water. A t-shirt, 3,000 liters to make, A t-shirt takes 2,500 liters of water to make. A glass of milk requires 300 liters of water. What we call virtual water, every product that we make requires water, and hence it's very important to conserve, preserve, rainwater harvest, and ultimately move towards net zero. So therefore, as you can see in the green homes, the water conservation is 23% against energy efficiency 20%. Resident health and well-being also very high score of 14%. We have the IGBC Green Affordable Rating. I think Sophia Firdos has got a site where she's using this. She has adopted this rating at her site. It's a national imperative. It's aligned with the Housing for All by 2022 initiative of the Government of India. This is applicable for 60 square meter, maximum 60 square meters, 600 odd square feet in metros, 950 odd square feet in non-metros. This was launched, again, I see Shri Ram here from CREDAI, I see Jakshay Shah, I see Samir Sinha, Zubin Irani on the background. This is launched by Shri Vijay Rupani ji, the Chief Minister of Gujarat, in 2017 at the National CREDAI Investor Ceremony. The major benefits for occupants are water saving in terms of money, about 400 rupees per month, energy conservation of about 350 rupees per month, green cover, children friendly, senior living friendly. Sorry, I'm going a little fast because I have only 20-25 minutes to talk to you. We have the Green Residential Society for current already constructed residential society. So whether you're a gated community or an apartment complex, you can convert your residential society also to green, optimizing energy and water. We have green ratings for commercial. We have the new building rating. We have the green existing building operation and maintenance rating system, and we have the energy net zero, which was launched at the hands of the Vice President of India in October. And we have a lot of buildings in India now which are net zero water, net zero energy. So it's possible. And trust me, you recover your money within 1.5 years. For the new building rating, I won't get into the building ratings, but the new building rating system, as I said, you can convert commercial existing buildings into green, and you can convert buildings into net zero energy. No need for energy from the grid. This is plant 13 of Godrej and Boyce Vikhroli, a net zero energy building. I do not need energy from the municipal corporation at all. Can you imagine? What a USP. IGBC also came out with the guidelines on health and well-being post-COVID. Now, some of the green features, we look at retaining existing trees, green cover, grass pavers. We look at heat island effect. We look at, we use SRI paint and tiles, whereby we reflect the heat island effect. And therefore, my building is 3 to 4 degrees cooler than the ambient temperature. The building at Gachibowli, the Green Building Center photograph that I showed you in the beginning, is in an area which has the highest traffic in Hyderabad. You go out, there's noise pollution, there's emissions from cars, but that building has 1,000 plant species, out of which 80% are native. That building has 37 butterfly species which have been sighted there, 29 bird species which have been sighted there. So you can imagine you are living with flora and fauna right in the middle of a city. We look at water conservation, treating all gray and black water. We look at rainwater harvesting, and we try and see how you can become net zero on water. Now, water conservation, if you use low flow fixtures, I will allow you to sing under your shower. Sophia, you can still think you're Lata Mangeshkar, or somebody can still think they are Mohammed Rafi or whatever you want to sing. You'll say 40% water without compromising on your comfort. We use aeration, what Hindware also showed you. We insist on common area water metering or dwelling unit water metering. We have dual flushing systems. When you urinate, you use only 1.5 liters. Otherwise, you use 4.5 liters. So gone are the days when we had these big tanks, shanks, what you call, where we were using 12 liters and 15 liters of water. Now we are all on water conservation, and I repeat, without compromising on the comfort of the user. We look at simulation of the sun, the how to conserve energy all 365 days a year, and then based on that, the orientation and opening size of the building is decided. We look at shading, where we bring in light. You can see on the right side, in Hari Haran's word, 3 o'clock, where we bring in light, but we don't bring in heat. Now, the U value on red bricks is 2.63. The VU value on AAC blocks is only 0.48. Concrete blocks have a VU value of 3.2. Fly ash bricks only have a value of 1.2. So we guide you, handhold you in the right use of materials. It's not about cost. It's using the correct materials, materials which have high recyclable content, materials which are in abundance rather than in depletion, materials which are energy efficient or water efficient, and materials which have low embodied energy. And therefore, We look at energy efficient lighting. We look at VFD pumps. We look at VRF or chiller air conditioning, bringing down your cost by 30-40%. I repeat again, without compromising on the comfort of your user or your client. Renewable energy off and off, on and off site. Material conservation and waste segregation is already become mandatory in many parts of the country. Use of broken tiles, broken bricks instead of virgin tiles. Looking at cross ventilation, looking at daylighting, looking at natural ventilation, and trying to see how to cool the building even cooler than ambient temperature by 2-3 degrees with the insulation and the cool air coming in. So green measures with zero initial investment. We look at good daylighting, cross ventilation, tree cover, native plants, paver blocks, low VOC, volatile organic paints. Can you imagine a painted bedroom which has hardly any smell, and you can get into the bedroom within 24 hours and you are not sneezing all the time because there's no smell, there's no volatile organic compound, very less. Use of materials with very high recycle content, recyclability potential, water efficient fixtures, rainwater harvesting. Marginal investments, we look at high SRI paint on the roof, we look at irrigation, efficient irrigation systems, electric charging facility for vehicles. You know, Israel was a desert. And now it's a green country. They produce all their food because they have efficient irrigation systems. And now we learn from Israel. Toilets for differently enabled, on-site renewable energy, organic waste converters, exhaust for toilets and kitchens, and again, water metering. Now, I will go to the incremental cost. This building in Chennai, KG's Eternity, is a IGBC Gold. Payback period 1 year, incremental cost 1.8%. Now, 1.8% may also sound big. Project cost is 19.65 crores. Green investment is only 28 lakhs. Can you afford it? It's just your mindset that you say we cannot. Please understand the green features are a USP for every builder in this country. And it's not about affording it, ladies and gentlemen. It's about stopping global warming where we are. The sea is filled with microplastics and people who eat non-veg are eating cancer. The air is filled with pollution. Your Mother Earth is filled with plastic waste. What are we doing? What are we going to leave behind for our children and their children? And forget about cost. It is our responsibility to make sure that whatever we build is sustainable. So I join my hands in front of all of you. Please, please build only sustainable and certified green buildings. Just by putting a lawn outside and you say my building is green, it's not green. Green is many other features as I've shown you. There's green products that you use. This is also another center of excellence of the CII, the Green Pro rating, more than 1,500 products already registered under Green Pro, like the Hindware products, and they are at par with the global eco-labeling standards. As I told you, either they are high in recycled content or they use materials in abundance rather than depletion. They have high recyclability potential, low on embodied energy, low VOC compound. I won't go into the certification process of Green Pro, but all the products which are environment friendly are certified under Green Pro, and you get a recommendation from IGBC. It's not that you're spending more money on these products. When you use a low VOC paint, it's not more expensive than an ordinary normal paint. I'm not asking you to spend more money. I'm not asking you to spend more money on a VRV, VRF system of an air conditioner. The price has come down. I am asking you to build only sustainable buildings, sustainable sites. Put that IGB. Anyway, we have 93% share. Put that IGBC logo on every Godrej building has that big shield at the entrance of the building. Wow, it's a USP. That Godrej is a responsible builder. They're giving back to the environment. We have a lot of green initiatives from the Green Education Certification course, all the IGBC accredited professional. We have the IGBC fellow. To young professionals, we will handhold you and make sure that your site engineers are well trained in green aspects. I went to 640 acres of Reliance Copper Cane in New Bombay. They said, we don't want a consultant, we want to do it ourselves. I said, sure, you can do it yourself. as long as your submissions are as required by IGBC.
Quickly, sir. We've overshot the time all. Sorry to disturb.
Okay, I'll go fast. I'll finish. Give me 2 minutes. You about Reliance, we certified them as green 640 acres. They are using 700 tons of square feet for 1 ton of air conditioning. In my own drawing room where I'm sitting, I have, it's shameful, but I'll tell you, I have 6 tons of air conditioning in 800 square feet. 1.5 tons for every 200 square feet. Shameful, right? Reliance Copper Kerne is 700 square feet per ton of air conditioning. Reliance Jamnagar, after that, about 800 acres we certified, 750 square feet per ton of air conditioning. Wow, look at the cost saving. Look at the installation of capex saving. We'll do joint awareness programs with you. You can get, when you participate in the Indian Green League, you get a shot at the IGBC AP accredited professional. Lots of accredited professionals here. I think, Pranati, you may be an accredited professional, more than 5,500 already qualified. IGBC Green League is to take place from the 6th to the 10th July, 5 days, 10th to the 14th August, 5 days. It's not very expensive, but it will teach you on all the ratings. And as you go through this training, there is a national quiz where you learn with fun, and there are cash prizes at every level. To sum up, IGBC will support CREDAI, handhold you. We will work with you on other incentives also, and make sure that you are guided well on all green aspects. It doesn't concern me whether you go for IGBC or no. My concern is all your buildings must be certified green. We will participate in all CREDAI programs. This is my commitment to you and Dr. Hari Haran's commitment today. Let us jointly work together, ladies and gentlemen. Let's work to green India. Let's work to green my country, your country, and our country. I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, in 1 minute. If Yusuf Zai Malala Yusuf Zai, from a remote village in Pakistan, in Swat Valley, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, can become a brand ambassador for female education and empowerment at a mere age of 22, and go on to win a Nobel Prize in 2014. If Greta Thunberg, okay, she went on a wrong footing recently, but if Greta Thunberg at the age of mere 16 can become a brand ambassador for climate change and spend a school every day, every week 1 day called Friday for Future, why can't we together resolve this issue of protecting our resources and ensuring its equitable distribution? Sure. It is not me, it is not you, it is us, our children and their children to come. Ladies and gentlemen, it is for you to decide the future course of the future of your children. In Greta Thunberg's own words, how dare you continue to look away and say you're doing enough? How dare you, ladies and gentlemen? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words. I unquote, how dare you? I would like to conclude with a quote from Herbert Reeves, Canadian-French astrophysicist, saying, "Man is the most insane species. He worships an invisible God and destroys a visible nature, unaware that this nature he is destroying is the God he is actually worshipping." Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gurmeet sir, for those insights that we got about IGBC and about nature itself. What stuck was the virtual water numbers that you mentioned about. Those are alarming and makes us even more responsible to conserve water. Gurmeet sir highlighted briefly on the benefits of additional FARs provided by few states to be shortly for the benefit. I will find when we have completely run out of time to any questions. I will invite Secretary of CREDAI Youth Wing, Nitish, to deliver the vote of thanks to all. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sohail. Honorable President Mr. Harshvardhan Patodia sir, Vice President Mr. Anant Rajgoyankar sir, CYW Chairman Mr. Jagannath Rao Bhandari, our most valuable CREDAI and CYW members. It's my privilege to offer thanks on this occasion on behalf of CYW. We at CYW and the entire Sustainable Development Committee thank both the speakers for enlightening us on why, and more importantly, how should we bring in more environmental friendly measures in our building. I am personally very excited that Mr. Harshvardhan sir has announced the sustainable awards for all the CREDAI members. I assure you that at CYW, we will work out all the nitty-gritties and ensure this becomes exciting for our members. We are grateful to Mr. Gurmeet Singh sir for enlightening us on the possibilities for us to build greener homes and highlighting the awesome work done by IGBC. We would like to express our gratitude to Mr. Hariharan sir for such a passionate and a captivating session with so many details on how we can become more green, more effective, and more customer friendly, in turn making us more profitable as well. Our special thanks to Hindware for supporting us to make this event a success. I would like to specially thank the sustainable team for putting up this event in a short notice. Finally, I thank 900 plus registered members for attending this event and request all your support for future events. Request all the members to spare a minute to complete the survey, which will help us to get the feedback on this event. Thank you. Thank you all.
And Nitish, I might add that, today it's amazing that there are so many eminent leaders. JP Shroff is here from Pune. There is Sandeep Talalikar. I can see many other, Sriram, who is the national convener for your CREDAI Youth Wing. He's here. Fantastic guys. All of them are here today. You can't have a better group of people to mentor this process for you all, Nitish.
Yes, so true, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have made it a very good afternoon, the last 40 minutes that you have held. Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Suhail. Wonderful job, all of you. Yeah. Great initiative from you all.
Thanks.
Look forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Gurmeet, sir.
Thank you, Sophia.
Have a good day. Please take care.
Yes.
All the best.
Have a
Have a
good
great
weekend.
weekend.
Yeah.